set, go.
I promise to pay Mom back for the Nerf gun,
Including taxes and shipping.
including taxes and shipping. back for the Nerf gun,
including taxes and shipping.
including taxes and shipping. promise to pay Mom back for the Nerf gun,
including taxes and shipping.
including taxes and shipping.
Lynn, Seth,
Boker
Okay.
Tov, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome. Len, am I good to go?
yes.
Yes. Well, welcome this morning. And whether you are in the sanctuary, I'm jealous of you guys, or on Facebook or on YouTube, Asa, this morning we are together. We are with you. We are here to celebrate you. We are here to love and support you as you become a bar mitzvah. And we are going to celebrate that togetherness by singing together Psalm 133, Hine Matov. Hine Matov Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hine Matov Umanayim Shevet Achayot Gam Yachad. Oh, how good. Oh, how good and oh, how pleasant when we come together. Oh, how good and oh, how pleasant when we come together as one. Hine Matov, Hine Matov, Umanayim, Shevet Kulanu, Kulanu. Gam Yachad, Gam Yachad, Gam Yachad.
Asa, at the time when at the time that we were talking with you, when we were helping you study, we asked you what color talit you would like to have. And you immediately replied, purple. So I thought for a minute and I said, well, that would be okay. However, the talit is not just for today. It's something you would be wearing on many occasions well into the future. You might have on a navy blazer, or black suit, or gray. And perhaps you might want to choose something to go with that. And you said, I would like to have one that's black and white. And so our takeaway from that moment to this moment is that in your life you're going to have to make lots of choices. And our wish for you is that as you go forward, that you choose from the possibilities of long-term rather than just the immediate thought, so that you will have a beautiful and rich life. That's my wish for you.
You have a unique double bar mitzvah, which we've discussed. Of course, those of you who know that Asa was supposed to be bar mitzvah in May, and he did all of the study, and he wrote his Dvar Torah and all of that. and he'll mention something about it. And of course, it was broadcast, and I think it's recorded, so if some of you want to go back and hear what he had to say about laws of priestly purity, you can get that one. But now so I sort of think that was like your beta test or bait test, and now you have the olive opportunity, done a double duty as a bar mitzvah. And so sukkah is a shelter, a temporary shelter, and I know you're going to speak about that as part of your devar. And the wearing of the prayer shawl, the talit, is also, in a sense, temporary, because you only put it on for certain occasions. You don't usually wear it in the winter, to keep warm or anything like that. So there's the connection there. This is really the beginning of your relationship with this article of ritual shelter and special occasions and so on. I think those of us who have received a talit over the years know that it takes on all kinds of meanings subsequently that we would never have thought of when we were 13. And it just keeps on going like that. The whole idea of presenting the talit at a ceremony, I don't know when that became popular, but it was not part of my bar mitzvah. And I was thinking I have to talk with Bob Deutsch, because we had the same bar mitzvah teacher and were bar mitzvah in the same synagogue in Detroit. And maybe in his family they did it, but I just had one and went up there, and that was it. So it's special. But I want to say to you on this occasion that the way that what my experience is of wearing a talit is that it's like it's like somebody putting their arms around you. It's like having something around your shoulder. And I think that's what it has come to mean to me at times, that it's the feeling of shelter again, of an arm around my shoulder, encouraging, giving all kinds of support and encouragement. So I hope that the talit will be that for you, and it will take on all sorts of really positive meanings over the years to come. So now you can say your prayer, and then we'll place it on you and make adjustments.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzilanu v'hitatef ba'tzitzit.
Amen.
Amen.
Let's see. Let's put it in like that.
And tuck this in so it doesn't slip down. And there you are. You're all set. You tuck it in on the other side.
Yep, looks like the right size.
We continue on page 67. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May the synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. We continue on page 74 with the singing of Ma Tovu.
Israel, ma tov.
אקרא אברך לפני אדוני Let us acknowledge, express gratitude for our embodied souls and our ensouled bodies in Asher Yatzar. I thank you for my life, body and soul. Help me realize I am beautiful and whole. I'm perfect the way I am, and a little broken too. I will live each day as a gift I give to you. Let's join together in our woe.
We continue on page 80 with Nisim B'chol Yom, our blessings for daily miracles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who opens the eyes of the blind. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who frees the captive. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech melech haolam, who lifts up the fallen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who stretches the earth over the waters. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who strengthens our steps. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who clothes the naked. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who gives strength to the weary. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who made me in the image of God. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me free. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me a Jew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who girds Israel with strength. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who crowns Israel with splendor.
Amen. Jenny Mercer, teacher of Torah, page 86.
Asa, you and I started studying together such a long time ago. I knew early on that you could do great things, so I set about to make sure that you knew you could accomplish great things. And the evidence is right here today. You have become a masterful Hebrew reader. You are one of the very few who has learned 4 aliyot. I hope you know how good this is. It's been a pleasure. I am very, very proud of you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asoch b'divrei Torah. Page 88. These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all.
On page 106, we rise.
Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei.
B'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala, uv'izman ka'ariv v'meru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach, le'olam v'olam me'omaya, yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithalev v'yithalal shemei dekudasha b'rechu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amin b'yoma v'meru. Amen. Baruch et Adonai Hamavorach. Baruch Adonai Hamavorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavorach le'olam va'ed.
Page 110.
Praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of light and darkness, who makes peace and fashions all things. In mercy, you illumine the world and those who live upon it. In your goodness, you daily renew creation. How numerous are your works, Adonai. In wisdom you formed them all, filling the earth with your creatures. Be praised, Adonai our God, for the excellent work of your hands, and for the lights you created, may they glorify you. Shine a new light upon Zion, that we all may swiftly merit its radiance. Praised are you, Adonai, creator of all heavenly things. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMorot.
Page 113.
Shema
Hold on,
Yis-
hold on.
Our turn.
Oh, my bad.
You can turn around, though. We want to
Okay.
see you.
Love your neighbor as yourself, you said, and light blinded, we saw that inner and outer worlds are one as you are one. You spoke and we wrote.
We reached down for you down the centuries, your light moving before us. As we climbed, fell back, and climbed again, your Sinai of life.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Adonai,
habocher ve'amo
Yisrael
Yisrael
ba'ahava.
Ahava.
Shema Yisrael
Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu
Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. You may be seated. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים לארץ אלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Page 121 in the middle.
Adonai Sifataiti.
Hold on. Page 121.
The eternal truth is that you alone are God, and there is none else. May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exalt in your justice. Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore.
You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart. The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal. For you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor, as God? We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy. Praise to God Most High. Blessed is God and deserving of blessing.
We continue on page 122 with Mi Chamocha.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נטע בקודש, נורא תהילות, Osefele, Nora Tehilo, Osefele. Yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Shira Chadesha, Shipu Gulim, Leshimcha Alfat Hayam, Yahad Kulam, Hodu Beim Li Be'ameru, Adonai Imloch Le'olam Ba'ed, Adonai Imloch Le'olam Ba'ed, Adonai Imloch Le'olam Ba'ed, Adonai Imloch Le'olam Ba'ed. Yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. To Yisrael, Kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, Uvdechenu mecha, Yehuda v'Yisrael, Go aleinu, Adonai tzvaot shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
Page 124.
Adonai sifatai tiftak ufiya gita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
Baruch.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanorah El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot U'Mevi Geula L'Bnei Bneihem L'man Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'Azrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayei Metim Atah Rav Le'oshia Morid Hatah Mechochel Chaim Bechesed Mechayei Metim Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofeh Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Michamocha Bal Gevurot Umido Melach Melech Memid Umechayem Umatmiach Yeshua Bene'eman Atalechot Metim Baruch atah Adonai Mechayei HaMetim.
Page 130.
Nikadesh et shimcha ba'olam, Shem shmati shimoto b'shmei marom, Hakatuv al yad nevi'echa, V'karaz el zeh ve'amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech haaretz, Kevodo. Adir, Adirenu, Adonai, Adonenu, Ma'adir, Shimcho b'chol haaretz, Baruch Kevod Adonai, Bimkomo, נצחים קדושך נקדיש, ושמך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
You may be seated.
Page 132.
Yismechu v'malechuta.
ישמחו במלאכתך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלאכתך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. מקדשי שבי שבת, כולם יספרו ויתנגנו מחו בשום שבת. ישמחו במלאכתך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלאכתך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. והשביעי רצית בו וקידשת שבת. חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלאכתך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלאכתך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלאכתך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלאכתך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת.
Page 135.
So I used hand sanitizer. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain? The sting of defeat or the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time. Contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat abide.
Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. We continue on page 136 and 7.
On this holy Shabbat, may we draw nearer to life, to peace, and to joy. May we find true rest, holiness in our deeds, worth in our study of Torah. Let us feed on the love of goodness. Let us drink from the love of goodness. Restrain our thirst for excess and cleanse our hearts to serve life well. On this holy Shabbat, may we draw nearer in life, in peace, and in joy. Our God and God of our fathers and mothers, on this day of Sukkot, be mindful of us and all your people Israel, for good, for love, for compassion, life, and peace. Remember us for well-being.
Amen.
Amen. Visit us with blessing. Amen.
Amen.
Help us to live a fuller life. Amen.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadecha v'yirah na'avod. We continue on page 139 with our prayer of thanksgiving, responding each time with the words, Modim anachnu lach. We are grateful to you.
For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations.
Modim anachnu lach.
For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons.
Modim anachnu lach.
For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression.
Modim anachnu lach.
For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared.
Modim anachnu lach.
For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose.
Modim anachnu lach.
We pray that we may live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving.
Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulecha na'eh lehodot. Our anthem of peace, Sim Shalom, page 140.
Sim Shalom, Tova Uvracha, Sim Shalom, Tova Uvracha. Chen v'chesed, chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Chen v'chesed, chen v'chesed v'rachamim, v'rachamim, sim shalom. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen.
141. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of our world. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Adonai, who blesses your people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hambarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We share a few moments now in silence.
יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי אדוני צורי אדוני צורי וגואלי אדוני צורי אדוני צורי אדוני צורי וגואלי יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי אדוני צורי אדוני צורי וגואלי אדוני צורי אדוני צורי אדוני צורי וגואלי יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך.
In honor of the festival of Sukkot, I invite you to rise for a taste of Hallel, which you can find on page 266. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu likro et hahallel. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of all, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to recite hymns of praise. Hallelu et Adonai, kol goyim, shabchuhu, shabchuhu, kol ha'umim, ki gavar aleinu, aleinu chasto be'emet Adonai, le'olam hallelujah, hodu l'Adonai, ki tov, ki tov, ki le'olam, ki le'olam chasto, Yomar na Yisrael, Yomar na Yisrael, ki le'olam chasto, Yomru na, Beit Aharon, ki le'olam chasto, Yomru na, Yirei Adonai ki leolam chasto. Baruch haba b'shem Adonai berachnuchem mibeit Adonai Eli ata ve'odeka Elohai aroma meka. Hodu l'Adonai ki tov ki leolam chasto. We remain standing now for Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service for the reading of Torah, pages 248 and 49. And we remain standing, and we join in the words of Pirkei Avot, Al Shlosha Devarim, on three things the world stands: Torah, Avodah, and Gmilut Chasadim. All those who are passing Torah can go up and start.
Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omer. Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Al HaTorah, ve'al ha'avodah, ve'al gemilut chasadim. Al HaTorah, ve'al ha'avodah, ve'al gemilut chasadim.
Before you pass it, Ron, I'm just going to share a word. But we can see the generations of your family. Perfect. So this is where I'm going to share a few words with you, Asa. All of a sudden, it hit me like a million bricks. My favorite Asa moment ever. It was on the beach in Tel Aviv on our first morning in the land of Israel. And you could not sleep, I don't think. And I think, Esther, you wanted him out of the room so you could sleep. And I was going to the beach to lead meditation. And there is Esther saying, here, Asa wants to go with you. And that was 2 years ago, and Asa, you were a little squirrely back then, and I thought, oh, that's going to be interesting, sitting quietly on the beach for 25 minutes. But Asa, you were a superstar at meditation. It was unbelievable to me. It was like, there's so much more here. There is so much more here to this one. And I'm fast forwarding to this moment, and I'm thinking, you know, whatever it is that you drew on to sit quietly on that beach that morning is probably a little bit of what you had to draw on to be patient and sit through this period, to be able to arrive here today at this, your Aleph Bar Mitzvah versus the Beta one that didn't happen in May. And I think it's beautiful that you are here, beautiful in the same way as it was for those rabbis who wrote those words on three things does the world stand: on Torah, on worship, and on acts of loving kindness, because they were rabbis and Jews who at the very same time lost everything that they had and knew and understood was part of Jewish life. They were living through a time when their sanctuary was taken away from them. And they had to figure out, how is it that we go on? How is it that we go on? How is it that we can open up the Torah scroll and it says, this is your fixed time? How do we do this anymore? And they figured out a way, and they said, you know what? There are certain things that don't change. Our festivals don't change. Our life cycles don't change. Our love of Torah doesn't change. Our desire to worship doesn't change, and our obligation to be kind does not change. This is what we have to do no matter what. So here you are. We're standing in masks. It's bizarre. We have a sukkah indoors. We're fewer people present in body, but we're many more people in spirit. But here we are, and you are standing here, and you were patient, and you held on, and you took what you could to make this a beautiful day where you have stood at that pulpit and you have owned that bima. And I'm very, very proud of you, and I know that the people who stand beside you, the people who are in the sanctuary, the people who are watching, are very grateful that it's you who's taking the Torah today, because it will sit with you, and it will patiently emerge into a beautiful Torah that will live through your life. So in that spirit, we'll say those words again as the Torah passes through your loved one's hands to you.
Al HaTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Al HaTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim.
Ki
mitzion tetzei Torah, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, u'devar Adonai me'Yerushalayim.
Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah.
Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael, b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadol Adonai iti, u'neromema shemo yachdav. Now you can take it down.
Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on our tongue. Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on our tongue. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu לעסוק בדברי תורה, לעסוק בדברי תורה. Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on sweet words of Torah. Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on our tongue.
Timing, Seth, perfect timing.
My Torah portion is called Emor, which means speak. It is from the book of Leviticus, chapter 23. This is my Torah portion from when I was supposed to become a bar mitzvah in May, but the part I'm chanting now comes later in the chapter and is the special reading for the first day of Sukkot. This part includes a list of major holidays like Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and even Shabbat, and it tells why we celebrate them. One commentary I read said the holidays are like signposts during the year. They represent important things like freedom from oppression, how to find wisdom, and how we all need forgiveness. That brings us to a description of Sukkot, the holiday we are now celebrating. Sukkot is a holiday that comes 5 days after Yom Kippur. We are supposed to dwell and eat in the sukkah during the celebration, and we're supposed to have an etrog, like a lemon, and a lulav, a palm branch, to help us remember the tastes and smells of a life in Israel long ago. I think, as everyone knows, the holiday also involves constructing the sukkahs, or in Hebrew, Sukkot. By building these shelters, we remember that the Israelites used temporary shelters in the desert as they wandered from place to place for 40 years. The Israelites experienced difficult climates and journey and environments, and the sukkah was meant to shelter them during the journey. The sukkah also symbolizes how God protected the Israelites while they were on their journey. But why are our sukkahs decorated with fruits and vegetables? They didn't have these in the desert. It's because the holiday also celebrates harvest time and when the Israelites were in the promised land and did farming. They had to stay close to their fields, so they built temporary huts. So we remember this too. While I do not have experience building a sukkah, I have experience virtually growing and harvesting resources like wheat in the game Minecraft. I've even virtually built a structure like a sukkah to store my resources, just like the Israelites did out in their field. These huts are similar to a sukkah because they provide shelter and storage for resources. Pretty much the same thing. I try to relate Jewish holidays to modern-day experiences like video games, not just because it helps kids write their devars, but also because it helps me enjoy the Jewish holiday more. Being Jewish is important to me because the culture is cool and it gives me a community to grow up in. It has been very fun to learn Torah and more about Judaism with my class and with my teachers, as well as the Jewish community. For me, this bar mitzvah experience is unique this time around because not only are we in a global pandemic, but I've practiced 2 devars, 2 Torah portions, and 2 haftarahs. Over a period of 13 months, I've practiced nonstop with Jenny, working on my prayers, getting better in reading Hebrew, and overall learning for 2 bar mitzvahs. I now know more about the requirements of Jewish priests from my last devar and the ins and outs of Sukkot. But this experience has helped me grow and mature. While I haven't always appreciated every second of it, I know it will better prepare me for adulthood.
If you'd like to follow along in the FaceTime commentaries, he'll be reading on page 724, chapter 23, verse 1. And it's an honor to invite Bipa and Gail, Ron and Gail Mannheimer, for an aliyah to the Torah. Ya'amdu Yerachmiel ben Avraham u'Miriam v'Gittel Asna bat Mendel b'Chaya Esther la'aliyah la Torah.
Baruch Hu Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher b'char b'nu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Toratav. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Vayadaber Adonai el Moshe. Oh, Amen. Vayadaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. Daber el bnei Yisrael v'amarta alehem moadei Adonai asher tikru otam mikra'e kodesh elachem moadai sheshet yamim. Te'aset malacha uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat, Shabbaton, Mikra Kodesh, Kol Malechet, Lo Ta'asu, Shabbati, Ladonai, B'chol Moshvotechem.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam notah b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. As he continues to read, it is an honor now to invite his grandma, Caroline Mannheimer, to Torah. Ta'amod Abigail bat Abraham v'Sarah la'aliyah la Torah. So you can keep the scroll closed in between.
I'm here for the assist. Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Ele moadei Adonai mikra'e kodesh asher tikra'u otam b'moadam b'chodesh harishon b'char ba'asa lachodesh bein charbaim pesach ladonai ubachamisha asar yom lachodesh hazeh hag hamatzot ladonai shiv'at yamim matzot tochelu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. And now it is an honor to invite Asa's parents, Esther Mannheimer and Mark Harris, to Torah. Ta'amod Esther bat Yerachmiel va'Abigail la'aliyah la Torah.
Baruch et Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Bayom harishon mikra kodesh yiyeh lachem, kol melechet avodah lo ta'asu, v'hikraftem ishe ladonai shiv'at yamim. Bayom hashvi'i mikra kodesh, kol melechet avodah la ta'asu, vayadaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. Daber el b'nei Yisrael v'amarta alehem ki avdou el haaretz asher ani noten lachem uketzartem et ketira v'yiftem et omer reshid ketirchem el hakohen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Yeah, he's gonna, now he goes.
And now it is an honor to invite our bar mitzvah to Torah, Asa Gabriel Harris. Ya'amud Bachur habar mitzvah, Asa Gabriel ben Esther, la'aliyah la Torah.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol alamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Okay. Vehenif et haomer lifnei Adonai lirtznochem mimohorat hashabat yinfenu hakohen v'asitem v'yom hanifchem et haomer keves tamim ben nashanto la'olah Adonai Umachamisho Shnei Ezronim Solet Billah Vashemen Isha Ladonai Reach Nichoach V'nischu Yayin Revi'i Tahin. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch atah Adonai. Do the ending one. Yeah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'hayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Mi sheberach avoteinu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah hu yivarech et Asa Gabriel ben Esther shehigia lamitzvot ve'ala lichvod hamakom v'lichvod haTorah v'lichvod haShabbat. HaKadosh Baruch Hu yishmerehu v'yichayehu v'yichonen et libo lihiyot shalem im Adonai Elohav. Lehago b'torato lelecha b'dracha v'lishmor mitzvotav v'yishlach bracha v'hatzlacha b'chol ma'aseh yadav yizku horav legadlo letorah u'lechuppah u'lema'asim tovim v'yimtzachem v'sechato b'nei Elohim v'adam v'nomar amen. May God, who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless Asa, who's come for an aliyah upon reaching the age of mitzvot with reverence for God and respect for Torah, Shabbat, and Yom Tov. May the Holy One of Blessing protect and sustain Asa, helping him to be wholehearted in his faith, to study Torah and fulfill mitzvot, and to walk in God's ways. May his parents continue to rear him to maturity, guiding Asa to the continued blessings of Torah, escorting him to the wedding canopy should he so choose, and filling his life with opportunities to do ma'asim tovim, acts of loving kindness. May Asa find favor before God and this community as we all say, Amen. In the sacred presence of Torah, we also offer blessings of healing. Are there names that we'd like to share this morning for healing? Then we'll offer prayers for all of those who are in the congregation who are in need. Mishaberach Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak Ve'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel V'Leah Hu Yivarech V'Yirapeh Et HaCholim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Aleihem L'Hachazikam U'L'Rapotam V'Yishlach Lahem Mehira Refuah Shlema Min HaShamayim Refuat HaNefesh Refuat HaGuf B'toch Shar Cholei Yisrael Hashta Bagala U'Bizman Karev V'Nomar Amen. May God, who blessed our ancestors, bring blessing and healing to all of those who suffer. May the Holy One of Blessing mercifully restore them to health and vigor, granting them physical and spiritual well-being together with all others who are ill, and let us say, Amen. Please rise.
Oh, you got it.
I know, don't hit this thing.
V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai beyad Moshe. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim. Hagel haaretz, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tahagel haaretz. Yehiram hayam, Yehiram hayam, Yehiram hayam, umelo. Yehiram hayam, Yehiram hayam, Yehiram hayam umelo. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz.
Yep. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ritza v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'nvi'ei ha'emet Tzedek. V'ra'ashu mipanai degei hayom va'of hashamayim v'chayot hasadeh v'chol haremes haromes al ha'adama v'chol ha'adam asher al penei ha'adama v'neherusu heharim v'naflu hamadare goat v'chol choma la'aretz tipol. The fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, the beasts of the field, all creeping things that move on the ground, and every human being on earth shall quake before me. Mountains shall be overthrown, cliffs shall topple, and every wall shall crumble to the ground. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sor chol haolamim sadik bechol hadorot Ha'el ha'ne'man, ha'omer va'osher, ha'medaber u'mekayim, shechol ha'davrav, emet v'tzedek, al ha'torah, v'al v'nemedah, v'al ha'nemi'im, v'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, shenatan lanu Adonai Eloheinu, likdusha v'limnucha, likvod ulatif aret, al hakol, Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim lach, ulvarchim otav, yitbarach shimcha, pafi chai tamid la'olam va'ed, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha'shabbat.
We turn now in our Sidurim and our prayer books to page 256 as we rise to return the Torah to the Ark.
This is the part where the parents get to talk. Come over here. Okay. I cannot believe we're here. It feels like I was pregnant for 13 months and not 9 months. That's just not fair. You have been training for this moment for so long. Since you were supposed to have a bar mitzvah, you've grown a mustache. You're taller than me, almost. I'm wearing high heels today. And if we waited any longer, this would have doubled as your wedding. But it's amazing how you've gone with the flow. You didn't freak out that you had to move your bar mitzvah and learn a whole new Torah portion, that you had to write a whole new devar. And you actually delivered your first devar virtually back in May. But that's just you, Mr. Flexible. And you're usually pretty agreeable most of the time. And I've been thinking about this because, you and I share something in common, not the flexible and agreeable part. But I, too, had to move my bat mitzvah because my family moved from Spokane, Washington, to Washington, D.C. about a month or two before I was supposed to have my bat mitzvah. And I was not flexible and agreeable about it. I pitched a fit constantly, and I argued with my parents. And at one point, I asked my dad, what if I don't have my bat mitzvah? And he said, what if you move out? So, whoa, you have taken this change so well, this change that you have no control over, with much more maturity than I ever did. And I thank you for that. In fact, I think you win the coronavirus I can take it prize. You've used your ability to be flexible to adapt to online school. You've figured out how to shift your social life to virtual world. I believe coronavirus was invented by video game companies so moms and dads can no longer limit screen time, since that's how you socialize now. That's just what I think. It's funny, when you were little and we go to the park, you would immediately strike up friendships with other kids and play with them. And now you're online playing with kids in Ohio and England. At least I hope they're kids.
Oh, God.
And you're arguing with them like you've known them a lifetime. We also share something else in common, and that's a love of politics. You always surprise me when you come tell me how you listened to Obama's speech at the convention, or you listened to the debate, that's what I'm calling it, earlier this week with your friends while you were playing video games. Here too, your flexibility is such a strength. A lifelong Bernie fan, and now you're lecturing your friends about Biden. Wow, true flexibility. Maybe it's because you're the third child. And third children have to learn to be flexible and adapt. Right, Chet? Right? But if Uncle Aaron's watching this, and I know he is, I think we can all agree that he's not terribly flexible. So it's probably just you and your nature. Or maybe it's a skill you've refined through this bar mitzvah process. You've been training for more than a year, so you've had lots of time to develop your skills. And you've been lucky to have so many classmates, like Teo, who's here, who are also going through this process. That is an amazing experience. And of course, Jenny, whoa, what a trooper, working with you for this much time. Asa, these days, a lot of times it's just me and you. Well, me and you and Sochi. And in a way, these circumstances have many silver linings. And one of them is that I get a chance to spend so much time with you. I get to see you learn and grow up and talk to you about politics. And before I know it, you're going to be grown and off to college. And I'll look back at this time and savor it, because it will probably never be the case again that we'll be together quite like this. I love you and I'm proud of you. Are you getting teary? No, not at all. Okay. I can't wait to see who you'll grow up to be, but I know you're going to lean into those skills of flexibility and adaptability. And you're going to come up with something you love. I love you, Bubby.
I got to fact check. As much as Esther loves being home with Asa, he still gets to come to work with me a couple days a week. And I think that's because maybe sometimes you guys have a little too much time together. But Asa, you're the youngest of three. And our house is challenging because there are no introverts, and we're all crazy busy. And so the spotlight is kind of hard to get. And you look to get the spotlight through high comedy, pranks, silliness, and from the very youngest of ages that I can remember, you were pretty much here to have fun. In fact, your first sports experience with Jeremy Goldstein as your soccer coach, he opened up the season by telling you kids that you were there to have fun. And I don't think you heard anything else. And you took that through all the sports that we tried, and you always had fun. Did not have the competitive genes that I have, and that's probably not a bad thing. A couple of funny stories. I don't know if you remember these, but you always like to entertain us with some of your antics, like trying to order a beer at dinner when you were 5, and we would go to restaurants. You told the most disturbing your mama joke that my friend Doug still talks about 7 years later. You once in 2016 taped a
I Love Donald Trump sign to my back, which I took with me to Inca High School and did not know. And yeah, true story. And you were the kid that I always wondered, is he ever going to be serious about anything? But we have had a transformation, and I directly connect it with the bar mitzvah process. And you have been this amazing, focused, resilient, hardworking. You have done a masterful job preparing for this day. And you have shown me and your mom that there was so much more inside of you than just kind of clowning around and being the youngest. And I can't be any more prouder and any more excited to see the true potential that you have. And I look forward to seeing it in everything from not just not just your bar mitzvah project, but in the future. Love you, and I'm very proud of you.
That was the biggest man hug. Okay.
It's an honor, Asa. It's an honor, Asa, to share this moment with Seth as we are able to, maybe if your parents can touch you, since we can't,
Mark, you
and
get on the other side.
offer you the blessing from the Torah. May God bless you, watch over you, guide you, and keep you. May the light of God's presence shine upon you and through you, and may God grant you wholeness and peace.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
We continue and remain standing in the middle of page 282, facing the ark for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tet gedula leotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei aratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu kor'im u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. You can close the ark. V'nemar b'haya Adonai lemelech ol kol haaretz bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. We remain standing on page 294 as we think of loved ones who have been taken from us recently, those who died at the season in years past, and those whom we've drawn into our hearts with our own. We especially remember Asa's great-grandparents, Wendell Asa Safewright and Jean Marie Reber, Marion and Irving Mannheimer, James Edward Wells and Luella Wells, and Francis Matheson Harris and Gay Harris. Zichronam livracha, may all of their memories be for blessing as we join together. Yitz gadal v'yitz kadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya, Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yit'aleh, v'yithalal, shmeid kudusha brichu, le'elam min kol verchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen.
Ve'imru, 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 amen. Ve'imru, 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 amen.
As I mentioned before, I have prepared for 2 bar mitzvahs, but all this hard work came with the teaching, support, and encouragement from my community and a few specific people I would like to thank. I would like to thank Jenny, my Hebrew teacher, for the 13 months of learning for my bar mitzvah. I would like to thank Rabbi for growing a congregation that has supported me throughout this process and for spending time with me and my family, getting us ready for today. I would like to thank my grandparents, family, and friends, and all the support they've provided me, and Beepaw and Gail for listening to me practice. I would like to thank my B'nai Mitzvah class for supporting me. I would like to thank Seth and Billy Jonas for the music. I would like to thank my teachers here at the temple. I would like to thank the tech crew for making it happen. Finally, I want to thank my parents for raising me, and I want to thank my brothers for support, like reminding me not to eat the dog treats.
That would be you, Seth.
Oh, say shalom bimromav, Uya say shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Ya say shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya say shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Shabbat Shalom and Hag Sameach.
set, go.
I promise to pay Mom back for the Nerf gun,
Including taxes and shipping.
including taxes and shipping.